Hello, and welcome to this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson, and we're here talking all things at Salford Red Devils. Joining the show this week, as ever, we have Paul Whiteside. How's your week been, mate?
Yeah, very good, Rob. Thank you. Very good. He's getting better anyway as the week goes along. But yeah, I'm all right. Thank you, mate. I enjoyed my trip to Hull on Friday and sulked a bit at work on Saturday and felt sorry for myself. But by Sunday, I was feeling a bit better. So yeah, all good.
Yeah, we're ready to talk all things all Salford on the podcast. Is always a good thing. Cheers you up. No more. All ends up.
Yeah, I need cheering up, Rob. I really do. I need something to cling on to.
That's what it's all about. It's hope. That's what this podcast brings you, Paul. It's hope. And talking about hope, we've got Paul Parkin on the show today. Parker, looking forward to talking all things Salford Red Devils this week.
Yeah, hopefully just get a few things off my chest. Get it out of my system. I think that's the main thing. I said before we came on air, so I think I was kind of just saying that I've buried my head for the last few days. So it'd be nice to get it off now and then. Let's start again. Have a fresh look.
Yeah, we're enjoying the Euros as well. Parky, have you managed to take in a few games?
One or two. I think I've only missed one all the way through so far. I've got them all recorded anyway. So I'm quite enjoying it. To be honest, it's nice to see. It's nice to see stadiums with crowds in and that kind of thing. And the England game the other day obviously lifted my spirits a bit over the weekend, but a long way to go yet. But yeah, bit of football. Still got the rugby. Cricket's back. What more can I want?
Yeah, Richard Marshall spoke about England's chances of the Euros in the press conference, and this is what I had to say.
From 4 or 5 years ago now, and he can mould that into his own. I think it's fantastic for England, fantastic for us, and that there is a pathway for youth. So I think we'll make the final. I'm not sure we'll win it, but I think we'll make the final.
Sorry, can I just jump in there just for a second?
Yeah, no problem.
You said you met Gareth Southgate. Was that like just bumping into him, or did you actually sort of discuss coaching stuff with him?
We did. So I was coaching England Academy and we was at St George's Park. We had a session there. We spent a couple of days down there with the academy lads, and he was coaching the under-21s at the time. And we crossed on the stairs, and it was good really because he said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm with the rugby team. I'm England Academy head coach." He said, "Oh, I'm with the under-21s. I'm the under-21s, so very similar." And it was one of them where obviously I knew him, and I said, "Hiya, Gareth," and he didn't know who I was, but and it was one of them on the stairs where you could go then, and he didn't. He stayed for about 20 minutes, and we had a real good chat. And he said, "You can come and watch us train." I watched them train, and so that from there, he won't remember me from Adam now, I'm sure, but it was good, and it was really insightful in his personality that he took 20 minutes out of his day to come and speak to me. Really, I thought that was very impressive.
Brilliant, thanks, Rick.
Yeah, good.
So that was Richard Marshall, Parky, talking about England's chances, and when he met Gareth Southgate as well, which is interesting.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I suppose at the time, he probably didn't sink in how important he was going to be because obviously Gareth was, still starting out at that point as well. But yeah, interesting. I don't know why were they at St George's. I know they were there with the academies, but I don't really know how they got permission to be there. I thought it was just a football thing. He thinks we can do pretty well, doesn't he, Richard? I'm not as confident as he is, but I'm sure we can go far enough into the tournament to keep the excitement going for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, excitement. Another thing that is exciting is Salford Red Devils. We're going to be talking all about the defeat against Hull KR, pick the bones out of that, see what Richard Marshall's reaction to the defeat was. Then we're going to go for the big news of the week, and then Paul's going to do his amateur report for our local sides, and then we're going to preview the game against Huddersfield on Friday. So what we'll do, we'll start with the defeat against OKR on Friday.
You're listening to Devil in the Detail, and this is your big match review.
So Salford Devils went down to defeat against Hull KR. They lost 40 points to 4 away from home on Friday night. Paul, disappointing result for Richard Marshall's men.
Is that to me, that Rob, that question?
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, it was a disappointing game. We were expecting reaction, I think, after the Warrington defeat. The 60 points conceded, and we came out in that game. For me, I thought we started quite well. We scored a well-worked try, and for the first 15 minutes of the game, we were on top. The crowd were getting on their back. You could sense that. Even I was sat behind like a patio door in this box, but you could hear the crowd. And we were getting a few penalties there, and I thought we've got a chance here in this game. And the big turning point for me, the momentum swing, was the sin binning of Chris Atkin. It just totally seemed to knock the stuffing out of us. And I'm not saying that's an excuse, but the game sort of changed on that, and the momentum of the game changed. So I thought it was an awful decision, but the way we played after that was not acceptable. Kicking the ball out on the full twice, it was a joke. The Escany letting the ball go out from a kick-off. Just little daft mistakes. I mean, how many times we passed the ball into touch, I'm not sure. There was a lad sat near me from Hull FC, actually, their press, and it was embarrassing. He was laughing at us, saying, and I was sat there trying to defend us, but we're absolute garbage at times. And I don't know. I just don't know where that came from. And I sort of come home and thought to myself, have we improved there on that Warrington game? And no, I don't think we did. I think it was worse. I squandered a lot of chances, so I don't know what happened to the players in that game, and obviously we're going to talk through the game. But I was a bit shocked, really, and a bit upset come full time. I didn't really know what to say, but it was a tough one to take, and tough on the supporters, I think, as well. So, we're going to get a reaction this week against Huddersfield. I hope so.
Yeah, it was disappointing. The first 20 minutes, though, Parker, were good. We put pressure on OKR. Couple of sort of separate periods of pressure. One resulted in a near try, and the other one resulted in a try for us from Ken Seal. Lovely kick from Tuilala sent the wingman over. And like Paul said, Hull KR were getting frustrated. The crowd were getting on top. You said last week, we needed a strong referee, and we got a bit. Obviously, the Chris Atkin sin bin, the decision was wrong. I think it's safe to say. I think the people on the Sky commentators weren't getting drawn on that. They weren't really accepting that it was wrong. They kept saying, "Oh, Salford's had a rough decision here, rough decision," when really they should just come out and call a spade and say it was the wrong decision.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I suppose he made it impartial, but that decision with Atkin, it changes the game slightly, or the momentum of the game, should we say? But like Paul said, it's not an excuse. You go down to 12 men, you work a little bit harder for your teammates. It was a bad decision. Lee Mossop obviously argued the case with the referee. He was having none of it, so he's made a mistake. One of many in the game that he made, but again, it's too easy to blame referees. For me, the players didn't work hard enough. They took it to heart, that decision, which you can't do. Just got to get on with it. It's happened. Just defend your line, as Hull KR did when they went down to 12 men. And just work a little bit harder for that one teammate, and then getting back in the game. The decision's wrong. There's no doubt about that. Everybody saw it in rugby league, but it wasn't good enough. The reaction's not good enough from the players. We were on top at that point. We really were. And you take something out of that and going, right, we'll get through this. That mentality of we've been hard done to, let's fight this. And we didn't. We just seemed to give up at that point. And after that, for the next, for the rest of the game, really, we just weren't at it. We didn't look interested at times. We were disorganised again, put discipline once again. And overall, just an absolute shambles. And like Paul said, as a fan, it wasn't so much anger I felt at the end of the game. It was upset. The fact that we could turn that out, especially after what we were put up through against Warrington. And again, like Paul said, I think it's the worst performance in the Warrington game. Because Warrington have got some class players in there, Widdop and people like that who are top of the game. No disrespect to OKR, they're not Warrington. They're a good side, a very good sort of better than probably the sum of their parts, if you like. But we just didn't stick it to them at all after that first 10-15 minutes. We just fell apart, and I don't know, something seemed very off to me at that point, and it was very worrying.
Yeah, obviously, Paul, we look back at previous games. The Saints game, we had a man put in the bin, and we had a different reaction. Players defended, like the life depended on it, and this time they rolled over for me, and it's kind of has to be a worry for Richard Marshall going forward, because obviously when you're in a dogfight at the bottom, you need your players to run through walls for you.
You certainly do, and that third try that Ulkar scored, I thought summed the first half up. That Brad Takirangi, I think his name was, kicked the ball through, and we just sort of stood and watched him, and nobody wanted to know. It was like some people were saying, "Well, you do it, I'm not doing it. You do the work." And that attitude for me is not good enough. There's too many people on there going through the motions, and you can say all you want about injuries, but not going to name names of players. It's not right, but there's enough players on there that played on Friday night with experience of Super League and international experience. We had a few internationals playing there. We all knew who they are. He played in World Cups and big games like that. So what's going on? It's not like you've got a team full of academy kids out there who are working the socks off and just get men against boys. They're on good money, and to churn that out. And what annoys me as well, and I feel sorry for the supporters, because especially the Warrington game, I think I said it the other week, we've gone 14, 15 months without going to a match. People have bought season tickets again, paid for the tickets last year, and you come and churning this out for them. I mean, you think with supporters back there now, you'd be, busting a gut to really impress them, and it's just not there. And people on social media can blame Richard Marshall all they want and slag him off, but the players need to take some accountability for it. Richard Marshall don't go out there and miss tackles. Richard Marshall don't kick out on the full. You've got to take responsibility for it. I felt sorry for Marshall at the end of the game on Friday. I watched him getting interviewed, and there was a telly in the box behind me, and I was sort of having my half ear on it, but I watched him trudge off, and I felt really sorry for him, because I thought, he looks really down there, and he needs his players to put a shift in for him. He can't go out there and do it for them. So that like Parky said, that's the thing what hurts the most. I mean, I've never been a supporter who stood on the sideline slagging people off and saying kick the coach out. I and Parky's the same, and you're the same. I think of Salford as my family, and I want them to do well, and I want them to win. And when they lose like that, it hurts you, and it did with me at the weekend. And it was a real tough result to take. That real tough result.
Yeah, obviously we're an opportunity club, Parky, and with opportunity comes responsibility and pressure as well. And it's how you deal with that sort of pressure going forward. The pressure's on Richard Marshall, the pressure's on Paul Traynor, the pressure's on Paul King, the pressure's on Ian Blease, the pressure's on the players. There's a first kind of stress test that this community sort of feel club has had, really, in the time they've all sort of been involved. So it will be interesting to see what happens in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, we said before the game this week that we just wanted to see a response, like Paul said. I wanted to see a bit of fire. You get beat. I said this last week. If you get beat, fine. It's how you get beat that matters. We just put the white flag up. We gave up some of that defence on Friday night. I was, 6-year-olds wouldn't make attempts like that. They were kind of just sticking arms out and trying to grab shirts. And, OKR, we made them look like, the Roosters or something at times, the way they were playing. And they just grew in confidence, knowing that there was nothing to beat. And a lot, again, like I said last week, a lot of soul searching has got to have gone on this week. And like Paul said, no matter what people think of Richard Marshall and what job he's doing, we're not in training every day. We don't see what goes on. But then players are still full-time professional rugby league players. People would give their right arm to be in their position. And they're not performing. Now, the players that are looking at going to other clubs, these other clubs, you're watching that going, well, why would we want to sign you if that's the best you can churn out every week? So collectively, between the manager and the players, they've got to get together, sort out anything that's an issue, or just work a little bit harder, but get a bit of pride in yourself and in that shirt and in the badge. Play for what it actually stands for, because that these last two performances are absolutely nowhere near and are unacceptable. And it will be Richard Marshall who loses his job in the end. There's no doubt about that. The players know they're safe. Players don't get sacked for bad performances. Managers do. And the pressure's got to go back on them a little bit. They've got to respond again this week. And that's not going to be easy. Let's be honest. And we'll talk about that later. But it's just not good enough, and it's unacceptable. Certain players realistically need to have a look at themselves and think, have I given what I can?
Yeah. I spoke to Richard Marshall after the game. This is what he had to say.
Coach's Corner.
And taking more responsibility for individual actions, being accountable. Accountability was a word that we used. There's just some simple things that we need to do far better. Just simple 3v2s on the edge, discipline. Yeah, not throughout the whole of the team, but certain individuals within the group need to be a lot better. Need to be a lot better than that. Yeah, that is nowhere near the required standard for Salford.
Yeah, in the first half, we built pressure and we looked dangerous. Can you see any other positives that come out of that?
Yeah, we looked threatening. I thought when we stuck to the plan and we kicked them in corners in the first 10, 12 minutes, I thought we had a real good go at it. Obviously, then we got a man Simbin again. Our discipline's woeful at the moment. We just, that's with and without the ball. Our discipline with the ball to have the respect that we need. I think we're 83% completion in the first half, and then that tailed off in the second half and took a real stranglehold in the game, and then just typifies the way we play at the moment. We get a man sent off on the bell, which is nowhere near good enough.
Yeah, momentum is everything in rugby league, and the Chris Atkins Simbin changed the game.
Yeah, it did. For certain, yeah, it did. Because we had a lot of momentum and forward push, and we looked like we were playing. We just weren't clinical, even in that. Even in the period where they lost a man as well, they lost their fullback. I didn't think we were clinical when they had 12 players either.
Yeah, second half, never really got started, never really built any pressure. Was that us suffering from not having as good as smarts, or was it them being better all round?
Yeah, I just thought they looked better with the ball in hand, more organised, the better kicking game. As I said, the first sort of 3 or 4 sets, we did exactly what we said we were going to do, and then in the second half capitulated. It's the story of our season. There's something that needs to change and needs to change fast.
Yeah, obviously 2 big defeats on the spin. Sort of what's the plan for next week?
Well, obviously we'll be planning to train hard. That's all we can do at this point in time. We're at the bottom of the competition or there and thereabouts. We need to be clawing our way up. We need to have we need to have a lot more desperation in our performances. And a little bit more smart with the ball. We'll be looking at that in the week. Obviously, we'll be coming up against a good team next week in Huddersfield, and it will be a chance to kickstart our season. As today was, we failed to do that miserably, and we're looking to do that, fix that right in the week.
Yeah, Tuilola here limped off, and Paulie was sent off. Bit of a costly night, for bodies for next week.
Possibly, yeah, possibly. It looked that way. I think on average we lose 2 or 3 players a game, for injury or suspension, and that's nowhere near good. We can't, we're certainly not good enough at the minute with 13 on the field, never mind with 12, and that can't continue to happen.
Yeah, Huddersfield next week. Is that the biggest game of the season so far?
They're all big. This was a big game. This was a big game that we prepared for. We had 2 weeks preparation. We had a few players back: Andy Ackersley, Mosser, Joe Burgess made his debut for the club. I think Kensio played his 200th career appearance. He scored a wonderful try for us early on. It seems a lifetime ago now, but he's been one of our most consistent performers, Kenny, and I take my hat off to him in his professionalism.
Yeah, obviously next week you face Ian Watson, Salford Red Devils ex-coach. Is there any extra pressure on that?
No, we just need to start winning, don't we? We need to start winning and winning fast.
So Richard Marshall, very angry behind the eyes, it has to be said. Paul, he talked about responsibility and accountability, for individuals in his team. He kind of deflected sort of Rio going in on him because he's the coach and he obviously needs to protect his players for them to keep performing.
Yeah, he does. But I think, like Parker said, they've got to take a bit of responsibility now, the players. I mean, I don't know. I've seen people comment. I've read an awful lot of comments on social media recently. I do read stuff. I never put anything on really anymore. I can't be bothered with it. But I do read stuff, and you think, is he right there? I've seen people say, "Oh, Marshall's lost the dressing room. The players aren't playing for him," and we all know that's doing the rounds. What people say, and I always look at it like my job. I tell you what, I don't think I have any managers that I've liked at work. I've had loads and can't stand any of them, but one or two of them have been all right. But at the end of the day, you go to work and do the best job you can because it's called pride. You have pride in your job. And my sort of supporters, if you like, are my customers. So I do anything to help them, no matter what my manager does. So to me, the players should be looking at those people, those faces in the crowd, and thinking, I'm going to do it for that bloke who's paid this week. He might be a bit short. He might have got furloughed or whatever, but he's paid to come and watch me. So I'm going to put my all in for this club and this badge that's on my chest here. So that's what the players need to do. And when we talk about looking in the mirror, you look this week, and you're very privileged. You're a full-time professional athlete. Start putting a bit of effort in. And yeah, I don't think anybody physically goes out onto a pitch to lose a match, but questions have got to be asked sometimes about your attitude and throwing the towel in. We've thrown the towel in 2 games running now, and it's not good enough. And you can't afford to do that this week. Huddersfield going to be fired up for this. What I was going to have Huddersfield fired up on Friday night, and if we get beat by 50 points again, what sort of message is that sending out? We're trying to build a club and get crowds back coming in when the COVID restrictions lift and all that. The club's just going to go down the toilet. You keep tuning in performances like this. We need something, and the players have got that responsibility now. And I keep saying it. I feel sorry for Richard Mars. I mean, like Park said, I'm not training every week. I don't see what they're up to. But when I've spoken to him, when you've spoken to him, he seems a decent bloke. He wants his best for the club, and let's see the players playing for him and bending the backs.
Yeah, we have seen patches though, Paul. It's not been all doom and gloom. 85% completion rate in that first half. Is that the problem was when you sort of go a man down and concede 3 tries, but then OKR go a man down and we aren't able to sort of manage that situation, Parky, and that's the thing that really kind of sort of worries me and concerns me, that the chance is there, but we weren't able to take it.
Yeah, the glimmers are very, very few and far between. Let's be honest, those patterns of play that you look at and go, wow, that was good. How many of them have we seen this year? How many real decent attacking moves have we put on? We look devoid of ideas at times, and there's nothing to excite you at the moment. And it looks, it's all disappointment. Defensively, we were weak. Attacking is just non-existent. We scored first and then didn't score again for the rest of the game. When they went down to 12, man, this was our chance to at least make it look, a little bit respectable. We didn't get anywhere near. We couldn't hold the ball for 2 tackles. Things like that. Like Paul said, that's not the manager's fault. He's not dropped that ball. That international rugby league player just dropped that or threw it into touch. What things like that. I mean, Richard, he didn't dig the players out in his interview that he just played, and rightfully so. He's not going to gain any fans by doing that, and he's not going to help his own cause. But there was plenty he could have done. Plenty of players he could have really pointed the finger at this week, and experienced players who just didn't do it for him. Now, again, like I say, do I think Richie Marshall's doing the right thing? Not always. I don't think he plays the correct team most weeks. I'm not a manager. I'm not paid to make them decisions. He sees what happens in training. The difficulty is once he puts a team on the pitch, it's then up to them to take responsibility for it. And I thought he spoke, really, really quite well and protected the team a little bit there. But he could have certainly singled out 1 or 2 that he could easily say, for me, probably should play again this season, because it just wasn't, their performances weren't good enough. And it's hard to know where to start and who to blame, but they're all in it together. So between them, they've got to sort this issue now.
It's about starting winning now, and that's what Richard Marshall said, Paul. It's about turning the corner as soon as you can.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of worries. I mean, for me, it's not just the defence. We've scored 106 points in 9 games. It's relegation, and I look at Lee, and I've took a bit of a. I've listened to their last 2 games on the radio. I've not seen them. I've listened to them on the radio, and listening to Jack and Trevor on Radio Manchester, they sound like they're trying. They're playing with a bit of ambition, and whereas we're not. They've been a bit unlucky, and they ran out of steam in matches, and we haven't. And my worry is perhaps they might sign a couple of players. if I had to put my mortgage on us going winning there at weekend, say we're playing Lee away at weekend, I don't think I could lump it on. I wouldn't have faith in us. So it's difficult at the moment. And I look at our squad and I think, yeah, those players are good enough. Those players are good enough. But sometimes in rugby league, football, whatever sport, you might have a decent squad on paper. But once things start spiralling and unravelling, it's very difficult. You're in a hole and you're looking up and it gets deeper and deeper and you can't get out of it. And then you run out of games. COVID might strike. We need to start winning. We need to start winning fast. We need a result. And I'm looking at these next couple of games. We've got Huddersfield and we've got Leeds at home. They're all going to be tough. There's no easy games in that Super League now for us. And we can't just keep relying on League getting beat every week because they're going to win. Like I said before, I was chatting to a lad who was the whole press man on Friday night. And on the way out, he was saying to me, he said, we've got Lee away next week. And he says, we're really struggling. We're going to struggle to field the team in that game. We've got a load of injuries, blah, blah, blah. He says, I fancy Lee to beat us. And I was thinking, bloody hell, that's all we need. We've just lost to OKR. And now I'm panicking about Hull getting beat at Lee next week. But no, we can't keep relying on things like that. We need a result, whether it's a scruffy win or whatever. We need to get a result and get some confidence. I think once you win a game and you get that confidence, you can start building things. But when you're on this losing run, it's a habit now, and players are down, players are beaten before they go out. And you look at that on Friday, as soon as we got that little bit of adversity, that bad decision against us, which was a terrible decision. It was a fantastic tackle from Chris Atkin, great bit of defending. But as soon as we got that little bit of adversity against us, the players didn't know how to react to it. It was just heads down straight away. And that's probably cost us the game. I'm not saying that decision has, but that momentum swing did cost us the game because we never recovered from it.
Yeah, you're right there, Paul. It was a momentum swinging moment in the game, but like you said, Parky, previously, the players are in a bit of a rut at the moment, and they need to find a way out. Richard Marsh says they have to win and win quick, and that's it. Whether you win scruffy or whether you win well, it's 2 points you need.
Yeah. The strange thing is, I mean, you mentioned obviously Lee there. Lee are showing everything that we're not. They're showing fine. I mean, to nearly turn over Catalan at the weekend, the form that they've been in and the lead that they put up in that second half, you're thinking Lee would probably just put the cue on the rack, that's it, we're beaten, and Catalan go and score 50. Lee ended up losing by 6 points to an excellent Catalan team. The fight they've got, the only thing that Lee lack is quality. They've got heart, they've got passion. Nobody can question anything about them, and they haven't won a game yet. And we're asking so many questions about our team. Why? Because we have got quality. We have got good players. Yes, we've got injuries and suspensions. That's what your squad's for. But at the start of the season, we all looked at that squad and said, that's good enough. That could be a top 6 team. No problem. If we get an injury here, we've got him to replace him. And at the weekend, I looked at that team and I thought, this isn't the same team that I thought we'd assembled. One of the best players for me was the young kid on loan from Saints. And you could tell he'd been brought through the right way. He didn't give up. He was committed to doing what he did. He had a job to do and he stuck to it. Too many players didn't. Very, very few will ever come out of that game with anything. And we've got to get a bit of what Lee have got. Like we said last week, when they get a new coach, another kick up the backside for him. He might come in with new ideas and get the best out of them. And they will nick a win. We could be in serious trouble if we don't turn this around quickly.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Parky. But the thing, like you said, with the new coach, Lee have put their chips in because they were bottom of the league. We're not. So is it, we've watched Salford for a long time. We've seen coaches come and go. You can see when things are going wrong and how they progress. You're hoping that this might be different this time around with Marshall. How is it up to him to change his ways and change it up, or is it more of a sort of a players thing, having to think, well, what we'll do, we'll dig in here when it really matters?
Personally, I think it's both. I think both parties, players and management, have got to have a look at what they're doing. What is there something they're not doing right in training? Are they not studying the opposition? Are they not working on ball skills? Defensive patterns. I don't know. We can't see. All I can do is see what's on that pitch on a match night, and it's not good enough. The reason, I mean, they have nothing to lose. They came into this league and everyone said they'll finish bottom. Right, so Derek Beaumont could have kept Duffy in the job all year. It would have made no difference. We're not in that same boat. Lee now have actually taken action on something that he didn't need to. Lee had expected to get relegated and finish bottom, but he thought this isn't good enough for my club. You know, the effort's there and everything, but we might need a few new ideas. And that's why he took that action. And I think he was right to do so. He could have stayed loyal to Duffy. You know, he assembled a team for a Super League in a matter of weeks. You know, that's not right. They're 2 points behind us. A team that's been to a grand final, a Challenge Cup final in the last 2 years. There's something drastically wrong there. We shouldn't be in this position at all. No matter what you say about injuries and suspensions, I'm not really buying that at the moment. So again, like I say, I think they've all got to knuckle down and basically just batten down the hatches now, close out to the rest of the world, and just get whatever it is behind the scenes or whatever's going on. And if there isn't anything going on, you know, let's have a look at the training technique or something, because this isn't right.
It's a tough period, Paul, to be in. Like I say, Richard Marshall, he knows his players. The players know themselves, and you know, it's all about sort of giving everything you've got, and hopefully turning the corner.
He certainly is. I've heard a few people throughout the season and the build-up to the season make bold predictions about where we're going to finish. I never tend to do that. I always like to have a look at them first and see. But I heard a few people, I think last week, say, "Oh, we're too good to go down near bottom." I tell you what, I remember 2007. We'd done really well in 06. I remember signing Corkidas, Luke Dawn, Mark Edmondson, among others. Good side, decent team. We ended up going down because Hull KR came up and they were a bit more. I think they had a bit more enthusiasm than us. I remember them coming to the Willows and beating us, and we all thought, we ain't going to go down, and we did. And it just shows you can have talented players, and once you're in that rut, which we got in that season, it's dead hard to get out of it. And I know it's a bit different this time. We Lee at the bottom, and like we're talking about there, but the longer you're down there and you're struggling, confidence drops. And another thing, players are moving on. Players have signed for other teams for next season. Are they really bothered when it comes towards the end of the season when there's only 3 games left? Well, I'm not having it on a beach now. I'm going signing for Huddersfield next season. I'm going signing for Wigan next season. I'm not bothered. And that, it's difficult to turn things round then because you've gone too far. So we need to sort this now before it gets any worse, because once you've lost like 15 games or 14 games or whatever, you're in a real problem, aren't you? We get to beat against Huddersfield on Friday. I think we won 1 in 10. And then you're playing Leeds at home, a game that we very rarely win. That's going to be a tough game. You've got Wakefield the week after. They're all tough games, aren't they? And these sides around us are starting to pick up points. That's my only thing now at the moment. And yeah, I'm starting to get a bit nervous now. I just want to see a performance. I want to see us compete. I said it the other week. Before you can win a game, you've got to compete in a game. 2 games there now, we've not competed. We've never looked like winning. We've not even been in the game. So at half time against Hull KR, that game was over. I didn't think we was going to come back. I thought it's game over. I can't see us unless we score first thing in the second half. I think this game's gone. And as the game went on, it was proved right. But I want to see us compete. I want to see us come out and play some rugby league and entertain the supporters and chuck the ball about a bit. Because at the moment, it's just there's something, like Pike said, there's something missing. There's something not right, and I can't put my finger on it. People have said to me, "What do you think it is?" And I don't know. I can't put my finger on what's wrong at the moment. It's difficult. It's a complete lack of confidence, a complete lack of belief, and I don't know.
Yeah, let's look at the stats from the game, Parker. Tackling wise, Elijah Taylor 32, Lee Mossop 28, Andy Ackers 35, Sebastian Ikefor 32, Greg Burke 25, Harvey Levette 29. Forwards doing a lot of tackling.
Yeah, well, when you're dropping the ball every 2 tackles, you're going to have to, aren't you? That's the problem. Our ball control the other night was horrendous. Probably some of the worst I've ever seen. Every time we had a chance to build something, we either dropped it, passed it to the wrong man, put it into touch, whatever it was. The forwards do have to do a lot more tackling, and you know, then when they get the ball to go forward, they haven't got the energy. They're not going to make any meters. You're doing a lot of defending, but again, it's the same players every week, isn't it? Getting stuck in and doing these tackles. You know, Elijah Taylor again, another 30 odd. We're going to burn him out. You know, you can't be expected to do all this work all the time. I know he must love that side of it, the defensive side. He's a talented footballer. But when he gets the ball, what chance has he got when he's done 30 odd tackles in a game? He'll be shattered, especially in the heat. It was a warm night, wasn't it, the other night, and it will be again this week. We've got to get better with the ball. We've really got to control the ball. And if you don't have the ball, you're not going to win the game. Simple as that. And I do feel for one or two of them, not all of them, but one or two of them really are still putting the shoulder to the wheel to help us. But there's not enough of it at the moment.
Looking at your top meter makers, Paul, Elijah Taylor 44, Ken Seo 98, Harvey Levette 92, Jack Wells 93, Ben Davis, the new loan signing 99, Jack Wells in 93, always impressive for me.
Yeah, but you've just read it out there, Rob. We normally have a lot more over 100, don't we?
Yeah, it's true.
There's not really there, is there? I mean, yeah, just going back to Davis, I didn't realise he was Dougie Davis's grandson. So somebody told me. So sadly, Dougie Davis passed away recently. The championship winner at Salford in the 70s. So there was a bit of history there. So I thought he came in and didn't let us down at all, the lad. I think for a real youngster there to be thrown in that sort of game, playing in a team that's really down and beaten, I think he came out with a lot of credit. I thought he worked really hard, and I felt a bit sorry for that lad. So good luck to him again this week. I hope he gets picked because he deserves it. Yeah, there were some decent displays. I think Ken Seo puts it in every week. I think Reece Williams puts it in every week. They just don't get the service out wide. Yeah. They're coming in doing loads of work. Reece Williams every week puts his heart and soul into it. I think it's difficult. I can't come on here and slag players off. It's not my style, and I know you two are the same. But we all know there's players there who are perhaps just going through the emotions a bit. I'm not going to come on and say they're not trying. I just don't think their head's in the right place, some of them. And whether it's a confidence thing, a lack of belief, I don't know. Perhaps it just needs someone to put their arm around them and tell them that, you're a good player, you can do this, you did well last season. I don't know, when you're losing matches, it must be a downer, and it must be hard to get out of that. Like I said, I've been scratching my head, lads, recently. I don't know what the problem is. I mean, Harvey Levette in that game, he had a late fitness test. I was watching him warm up about 10 minutes before kickoff, so he didn't look right to me, but he held his hand up and he played, and I thought he worked really hard, considering he probably wasn't fit and probably shouldn't have played. So it is difficult, and we've said that before. Richard Marshall's doing it difficult at the moment with injuries and suspensions and things like that. So, hats off to him. He stuck his hand up there, Harvey, and played the game. But no, it's a difficult situation at the moment.
Yeah, time to take your medication. We'll go through the 3-word match reports. Chairman Bob got stuck on the M60, Paul, and didn't make the game. Probably a few of us probably felt the same way, really, towards the end.
Yeah, I wish I had got stuck on the M60. Not made the game. It was a long. Well, it wasn't. It wasn't really a long drive home, because I set off and I thought, I need someone to talk to. So I spoke to Parky for about 25 minutes, and then my dad phoned me for the other hour and 20. So I was on the phone all the way home talking to somebody. So it's like Parky and my dad were like the Samaritans on Friday. All right out of it.
Stuart Smart need better halves. His man of the match was Burgess. My 3-word match report was in a spin. Ken Seo. Dave Walling. Embarrassing, disorganised, unenthusiastic. Colin Wilson, bad to worse. Mark, very, very disappointing. Paul, you said that one hurt. Reece Williams is your man of the match. Carol, Renshaw, we need help, Parker. Obviously, we'll come on to this later. I know Richard Marshall's had a bit of help this week, so that might help in the long run.
Yeah, like Paul said, I don't know what the answer is. We do need something. What it is, I really don't know. A Jackson Hastings would be nice, partway through a season again, and a Joey Lussick. That's not happening, is it? Let's be honest.
Just roll the dice, Parker. That's all it is. Just a roll of a dice, mate.
I do think we need fresh blood in the team. I've got no doubt about that. A win is the one thing that we really need to get our season on track, and it's not going to happen. It's kind of that vicious circle. What comes first? We need to put performance in first to get but to get to that level, the lads have got to be a bit more enthusiastic and perhaps fired up and angry about it. Not angry that they're going to get, sent off in the last second or something like that. But, just I don't know. There's something not there. They don't look as passionate as they should do. I think that's part of the problem at the moment. They look very, very flat, very monotone to me. And I don't know. That's something they need. Probably a rocket to the backside. Probably Carl Harrison coming in with his sword might help.
Yeah.
Just to get them going again. Something like that. Kevin Tamati coming in a bad mood. I don't know.
It makes you wonder what Richard Marshall is like in that situation. Is he Parky? Is he like a teacup thrower, or is he like a just go in and say, right lads, that was not good enough, and storm out again? Or we don't know, do we? We don't really know what kind of coach. Do you need really in that situation? Is it best to go in and put the wind up everyone about it, or is the silent treatment better?
I don't know. Players react differently, don't they? They're all the same, just like us in everyday life. Sometimes at work, you need a pat on the back when things aren't going your way. Say, "Come on, you're all right." Other times, you do need a rifling. I don't. Richard comes across as a very sort of calm and methodical kind of manager. I'm not saying he couldn't give him a blast. I don't know. And I'm sure he has done, but I don't know. We don't seem fired up when we come on the pitch. That's one thing. We don't get instantly stuck into a team, and maybe that comes from there. I don't know, but there's just like Carol said there. There's just something missing.
Paul, your neighbour, Roy Ellaby, nothing to say. Willow's red relegation dogfight. Williams. David Snape, weak, clueless relegation. Hopefully not. We'll turn it round before then. Stephen Doyle, like we've said, something seriously wrong. And lots of 3-word match reports like that. But you can understand it, can't you, Paul? Obviously, fans are frustrated, fans are angry. And obviously, I put that tweet out about 2 minutes after kickoff, 2 minutes after it's full time, so you get the full effect.
Yeah, and it was a televised game as well, wasn't it? So everybody sees it. The whole country sees it, don't they? And it's embarrassing, I think, when you play like that. It's not what you want. And I think the supporters were just trying to grasp anything. You just want a bit of comfort, don't you? And, some of us are a bit more tolerant than others, aren't we? I mean, us three guys go a long time and you tend to laugh things off. I sulk a bit the day after and worry about them like I shouldn't do, but I always have done. But, a lot of other people perhaps tend to get a bit mad about things, and you read stuff on like Twitter and Facebook and that, and some people don't have to talk rubbish, but we're all entitled to our opinion, aren't we? And straight after the game, people are bound to do it because they want them to do well. They want to see a reaction, and we wanted to see a performance. Perhaps even if we hadn't have won at Hull KR, if we'd have put the performance in, you can accept that. It's when you go and get trumped by 40 points. I mean, we conceded 4 tries in the last 17 minutes of the game. That's to me putting the cue on the rack. I mean, that Kane Lynette went through there. I don't know what Morgan Escalay was trying to do, but he's a fullback. You try and tackle him. I mean, Gary Broadbent, remember him? Probably didn't have the best tackling technique in the world, Broadbent, but he'd dive on you. He'd do something. He'd try and bring the man down brave as they come. Morgan Escalay just ran away. And it's I don't know. I don't know what he was trying to do there. But a few of the other tries were a bit like that. They were sloppy. It was, I don't know. We just sort of collapsed in that last 20 minutes. And we've not been. Perhaps I've got used to watching us where we've not done that. Last few years we've not done that. I mean, 20 years ago it was like that every week, wasn't it? We collapse and fold up at half time. But last few years we've got used to competing a bit better, haven't we? And winning games and that. So I think supporters just want a little glimmer of hope to grasp hold of now, don't they? They just want something. I mean, I don't expect us to go and win on Friday night, but I want us to go there and put something. If you can't get up for this game on Friday as a player, well, especially players that have played in the previous regime, you think they really want to go out and prove something on Friday. So that'll be interesting to see. I mean, it's going to be a nerve-wracking night. I'm really nervous about Friday, I must admit. But no, just going back to the 3-word match sports, totally understand what people are saying because they want us to do well and care about the club.
Yeah, Parky. My wife said that to me on Friday. Said, you're a bit chipper, considering you've been done by 40 points. And I was like, yeah, but it kind of reminds me of the glory days with like late 90s, early 2000s when we were awful. But we had a lot of beer then, so it kind of dulled the pain.
Yeah, I mean, there's another side to it. It is correct. We did kind of come a bit immune to it, didn't we? Just, we're turning up, we're going to get beat. That's how it is. But back then, I'm not sure we always had a squad as strong as we've got now. We always had good players, and we could always feel, a decent-ish team. But we didn't have the depth of the squad, and that's the disappointing thing for me now. That I expected slightly more from them. I'm not saying to go grand finals and cup finals again and all that kind of stuff. Just give a little bit more. And there are players in that team that are very, very capable rugby league players, and we're just not getting it out of them. But one thing I did want to say, it struck me on the game, and I forgot about it, was last week. Richard Marshall gave us an interview, and he said you asked him about Darcy Lussick going out on loan as a prop. And then this week we played Jack Wells at prop, who's a back rower. Now he told us we were blessed in that department. I couldn't get my head around why he would play a back rower at prop, if that's the case. I'm not sure it's things like that then give fans the opportunity to say he doesn't know what he's doing. He's seen something there. He probably thought he could do the job. He might have thought he's a bit more mobile. Their pack isn't. Maybe it gives us an advantage. I don't know, but it just seems a bit. To say you've got enough props and then not play one at prop, it was an odd decision. But things like that, it's only just come back to me now, and it's just a strange thing. But overall, like you're saying there, though, Rob, going back to the good old days or the bad old days, I had like Paul thought that was kind of a little bit behind us. We've been competitive. Yeah, we still had the odd trumping every now and then in the last few years. I'm not saying everything we've done in the last 3-4 years has been, excellent. Let's not forget we do still lose more than we win generally, but we've been fighting in games a lot more. And of late, that's slipped drastically. And the last 2 games are alarming. And like Paul's alluded to, and again, we will talk about it shortly, but Friday night could be very, very messy. So there's got to be a big attitude swing from our guys to prevent that.
Yeah. Also, just to make it clear, a lot of people on Twitter talking about Richard Marshall's post-match press conference. It was just me and a load of people from Hull. So they didn't edit any other sort of questions out from other journalists. There was a lot of conversations, Paul, that the club were trying to sort of hide stuff, but I can confirm it was just me. But it can be a bit like that, can't it, when you're in press conferences?
Yeah. I remember when we've not been in one for a long time myself, a live one. But we've been in a few with Ian Watson over the years, haven't we? And really defended him and tried to help him out, because we've always been like the friendly face, haven't we?
Leeds away. Leeds away was one.
Well,
we got.
And when we've been robbed by this, because we were that friendly face, because you support the team, don't you? I mean, me and you, Parky, we're not. We like to do our best in the journalism world, but we're not sort of sitting on the fence people, are we? We love the club, and we'll defend the club, and we're very biased towards the club, and I always will be. I'll always stick up for the club. I'll try and be fair. I don't sort of tell lies and anything, but you always are that sort of friendly face, aren't you, in a press conference? And I've never tried to ask awkward questions of the coach and get him in trouble, whereas a Hull journalist might try and ask that awkward question because he's not bothered about that coach. I always treat the coach as a human as well, because he deserves the respect as well. Some people don't, do they? Just try and trip people up. So I can imagine it being a bit difficult sometimes. You've got a lot of OKR people there baying for blood. So yeah, and it was a difficult night, wasn't it? It's difficult to defend. I mean, coming to the wicket like that for a coach, especially now that you're doing these Zoom ones after the defeat, it's different. You've got a load of people sat in a screen in front of you. I bet it's pretty hard to do that. It's probably hard in a room with people, but over a computer, it's probably worse.
Well, to be honest, I think it's easier because when you're talking to Richard Marshall, it's just him. Right. When you're in like a real life press conference, there's no order to it. It's just whoever sort of shouts first, really. Yeah. So it is a bit more organised on Zoom. But yeah, I just thought I'd put that out there because people were thinking, like they said, they were sort of editing out what was really going on, which they weren't doing. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm sure it's it was what it was. Quite enjoyed it. Quite enjoyed talking to Richard. I like sort of asking him questions to make him think, and that's kind of. I've never really had a chance to speak to Ian Watson because you spoke to him most of the time. So it's been kind of a good thing really for me to pick his brains and see what he's thinking, and try and get in his head a little bit, and just see what it's all about, Parker.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, and obviously he seems honest enough. You know, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes at any club, and you know how he feels inside. You know, he'll be hurting. It's his professional pride as well. But you've got to come out and face the press, whether it's Zoom call or a room full of journos. You know, whichever way it is, and that's part of his job, unfortunately. And at the moment, I suppose one thing he's got to be glad of, he's not the head of not a manager of a professional, you know, Premier League side or an England manager after they've been beaten, you know, and being called a turniphead or something like that, you know, a Swede or whatever. You know, he's a lot lower down on the scale than that. So, but yeah, you know, he's honest, and all managers are, as far as I can see these days. You know, they're all open, and there's nothing much to hide, and what there is. He's there for a reason, you know. You can't, like I said earlier, he's not just going to dig a player out because he's not going to do anyone any good. So, yeah, but you know, fair play to all the managers when they come out after the game and after a defeat like that.
Yeah, so that's a solid 45 minutes talking about the defeat against Hull KR. We got all out of our system now, hopefully, and we can sort of talk about good things now, hopefully, for the rest of the pod. So let's look at all the big news coming out of the club. What a good news, but we've got bad news. Paul, Callum Watkins has been on his Instagram telling us that his injury is worse than first feared.
Yeah, that's bad news for Callum Watkins, isn't it? We thought he was going to be out for a while. He's had a bit of bad luck with injuries, hasn't he, over the last few years, and it was the ACL, I think it is, and things like that. So it's difficult to come back from them. So it looks like we're not going to see him for the rest of the season. I hope it's not the end of his career. I hope he can make a comeback, because sometimes when you get an injury like that, it can be curtains, can't it? So let's hope he recovers well and comes back stronger for us next season, because I'm not sure how long his contract is, but I'd hate to say we've seen the last of him. So just hope he recovers and, you know, he gets through it, because he's suffered badly with injuries, and you know, he played really well for us, I thought, last season. You know, we got to that cup final, and he started pretty well and pretty solid this season. So yeah, he's another hole out of the team, isn't it? And especially in that 3/4 section of the side where we looked quite well there, didn't we, with Sargison and Callum Watkins. But you know, Sargison's been out suspended and Watkins injured now. We're a bit short there. Matt Costello's out injured as well, so we took a bit of a hammering in the 3/4. So I wish Callum all the best, and hopefully he comes back. Yeah,
it's a tough injury to come back from. Parker, he's been like Paul said, he's been good for us. His World Cup dreams are in tatters now, unfortunately, but hopefully he'll come back next season stronger.
Yeah, it must be devastating for the lad. Like Paul said, he's been through so much in the last few years, injuries wise, and you know, he went to Australia and he came back, and you know that his confidence took a knock, and he's trying to rebuild his career, and it's difficult. He's in a team that's getting beat every week at the moment as well, and then this, you know, he didn't go to the surgeon or wherever he went, the specialist for this injury. He didn't know it was a problem. You know, he was checking out, or they just checked it out and then found out that it had gone again, and devastated for the lad. Really am. I think we all want, as Salford fans, we all want the best for Cal, because he's a local lad. You know, he's a ball boy at the club, and we don't have many of our own, as they say, and he's one of them. And we all want the best for him, and it's such a shame. And you know, he's gone for the season, and Kev Brown possibly gone for the season. You know, we're not getting any luck in that department. And I just, you know, obviously we'd love to see Kev back before the end so we can, you know, wish him well in his retirement, sort of thing. With Cal, he's still got time on his side. It's how he recovers, and I hope now the club do the best to look after him, getting the best help they can, get him back in, you know, through the rehab, and let's hope we get him back on the pitch at the start of next season.
Yeah, I think that's the important thing, Paul, that the club rally around him. He's had a lot of issues in his life, and I suppose being injured, you know, it's kind of a gateway to maybe go back to them dark days, and hopefully the club will support him and make sure he don't go back to there.
No, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I'm sure the club will support him. The club have do really well by the players. I think we've got quite a settled club now, haven't we? People, the officials at the club are good people. I'm sure they'll stand by Callum, and I think he'll come back stronger from that. I still think he's got years left in him. He's just got to take his time now. You know, mentally it's going to be tough. You know, if you're out now for the rest of the season, that I know if it was me, I'd be a bit, stressed out about it. I remember I was off work for 6 months from my back a few years ago, and it's awful. You know, when you're at a long term out and you can't do anything, you sat about. It's much more your head than your physical sort of illness. You worry about that, and it does stress you out. You want to do things you want to be doing. So yeah, he's just got to focus on getting himself right now, have a bit of time away, relax, and then just get himself prepared. And then, you've got a full pre-season then, and really sort of smash it. But what sort of effect does it have in your head though once you had an injury like that? Does it hold you back a bit in training? Are you always thinking about that? I hope not, because he's still a good player. I think he's still got an awful lot to offer.
Yeah, let's go on to the big news, the breaking news, the good news, Parker. We've signed a Tongan halfback, Ato Hingano. Tongan halfback for the rest of the season with an option of 2 more years. Just what the doctor ordered.
Is that not official? Is this
That's confirmed on the official website?
Okay, yeah.
I've just WhatsApped
him. There was rumours going on during the day. Well, we were saying before, what do we need? We need a boost. Who knows? He could be our new Jacko. You don't know. It could sadly go the other way. It could be a Jack Littlejohn. You never know. But no, he's played NRL, played for Tonga in the World Cup. I think he played. Did he play every game in the last World Cup? So he'll know Tui anyway. So I don't know if that'll help or hinder. I'm not sure, but yeah, good. We need fresh blood. We're running out of troops. Obviously, like we just said, Callum Watkins and Kev Brown, Elliot Keir's gone on to pastures new. Injuries all over the place. We need numbers, definitely. So let's see what this guy can do. I think he's pretty versatile as well. I think he can cover a number of positions, which, again, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. Jack of all trades, but no, let's get him over here. Let's get him into the team, and let's see if that fresh blood just gives us a bit of impetus, a bit of buzz around the changing room. He might be that kind of character. He might be, I think of like Kevin McGuinness, who, the players loved being around because he was such a, he was buzzing all the time, and I think that might lift the camp a little bit. Great news, yeah.
Yeah, I did a bit of research on him because I thought it might be on for a signing. Paul, he's been playing for Mackay Cutters this season. Kicked 3 goals in 10 games, 2 forced dropout, average sort of kicking meters of sort of 200 yards, 60% goal kicking conversion rate, which is good. 6 try assists, 3 clean breaks. Received 363 passes, so he's kind of instrumental to what they're doing. Really, made 117 tackles, with a 75% success rate, which is pretty good for a halfback.
You say 200 yards for a kick? How long's that? It's quite a long way, isn't it? 200 yards.
Yeah, so it says. Let's have a look. Average kicking meters 172.7 meters.
Blimey,
That's probably in a game.
Okay, last week he kicked it in the sea. From there, it's a long way, isn't it? Yeah,
so he
sounds good. He sounds good. I mean, I had a little read of him before because I saw the rumours. I thought they'd signed him. I didn't actually check the website. I just seen it all over Facebook and had a little read of him and what have you. And I think somebody shared a post he'd put on, and I think it was him and his girlfriend or his wife, and everyone was wishing him good luck. So it sounded like they were on the way to the UK. So yeah, good luck to him. Good luck to him and his partner and his family, whoever's bringing over with him, and safe journeys. And I really hope we get behind him. Let's make him really welcome. And anybody who puts that Salford shirt on and comes to our club, we should make welcome and be proud of him for coming to the club. That's why I always think. And then we'll judge him when we see him play. If they're bobbins or whatever, and they're not putting it in, then we'll have a go at them. But before they put that shirt on and that, we get right behind him, don't we? And he's coming an awful long way, isn't he, from the other side of the world? So yeah, anything. And then, like Park said, I think it's positive. Sometimes that extra player and that new face and that, it can lift people. And he could be just what we're looking for. Don't know until we see him. But if he's played in the World Cup for Tonga, he must have something about him.
Yeah, 6 try assists, Parker, which is good. 3 line breaks / assists, which means he's in the thick of it most of the time.
Yeah, I think he's played. He's played loose forward a bit this year as well. Strangely enough, he'll be home from home for him because I know the McKay Cutters are currently sitting second bottom of their league. So he'll fit straight in it, I think. And as a halfback in a struggling team, you know, your stats, I don't know, they don't always add up to your actual performance. Again, you don't know what goes on in the team around him, but, you know, he's got a clean slate when he gets here anyway. You know, nothing to lose. Hopefully he's looking at it in a way that, I think he's only about 24, isn't he? I think he's going to be looking at it in a way of building his career. You know, he'll want to go back, get an NRL contract. At the moment, he's not in the NRL. He's in one of the I suppose the lesser leagues, but probably still the equal of our championship quite easily, and maybe more, knowing what the Australians are like. So yeah, let's get him over here and get him playing as soon as possible.
Yeah, Opportunity Club gives player opportunity, Paul, and that's what Salford are all about. Remember Jackson Hastings?
Yeah, opportunity knocks, as they used to say. Yeah, yeah, why not? I just agree with what Parky said. You know, he's only a young lad. He's going to want to prove something, put himself in a shop window for maybe a contract at Salford next year. We don't know how long he's signed for, do we? I'm not too sure. So whether it's just for this season or next season or whatever, he's a young guy. He's going to be ambitious. He's going to want to do well. So yeah, he's going to want to get a first team place as well. I mean, if he's an halfback, he's going to have to do a bit to get in our team because we've already got quite a few halfbacks there. So it's going to be interesting to see where Richard Marshall is going to put him and who's going to move around where. You've got Chris Atkin there, haven't you? And Tuilol here, Deck Patton. You know, we've got three guys. We've got Kevin Brown when he comes back from injury. We might not see him again this year. We don't know. But we've got three decent halfbacks there. So don't know where he's going to play him. So no, I think we needed somebody to come in, didn't we? We needed a bit of fresh blood, plus the injuries we've got as well. It's going to help the team out and take a bit of pressure off other people. So yeah, he could be just what we're looking for. And I think the age thing of him just being 24, he's obviously going to have something to prove. He's not a guy at the end of his career who's just come over here for a bit of an holiday at the end of his career. So I'm hoping we're going to see a guy that's really up for it.
Yeah, other good news. Parky, Paul Traynor and the club have announced that 71 schools now are part of a school partnership with the club. They're from Salford, Manchester, Bury, Bolton, Stockport, Tameside and Trafford. So we spoke to Paul Traynor a few weeks ago about his plans and the club's plans for reaching into different areas of the city. And it seems to be paying off. 71 schools and all the kids are now involved.
Yeah, I think when we did the Paul Traynor interview the other week and we put it on air, I think, didn't he say we had about 50 involved at the time? So that's a big jump. And Paul was mentioning last week about the area that we're in Salford and then the surrounding areas, how we're actually in a really good position for picking up talent. You know, there'll be lads and girls at these schools that have never played rugby, probably never even seen them. You know, like you mentioned, some of them areas would be mainly football areas, you would have thought, who now might turn out to be the next big thing, you know, and we're giving them that introduction and we're their club. Great work by the club again. I know we had a big chat about it last week, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes there at Salford, and, you know, with the college team as well, which is still doing really well. So yeah, it's good. It's good to hear. 71. You know, I mean, that's a lot of schools. I don't know how many schools there are. I've got no idea how many there'd be in Salford alone. But that seems a lot to me for the area. So yeah, great work.
Yeah, if you're kids at school and they haven't been sort of contacted by Salford, if you want to get them to contact Paul Traynor, you can on paul.traynor@salforddevils.net. And he'll do the rest. And it's very impressive what his plans are, Paul.
Yeah, it certainly is. I was surprised when I saw that. I thought 71 schools is a lot, trying to top schools up and that around where I live. I can't think of that many. So yeah, like I said the other week, there's a massive area in Greater Manchester, Salford, and we need to get into all of that. I mean, I just often think about London and the amount of kids who are playing the game down there and the way they've done it. And they've got an awful lot of talent coming through. Some of it's raw talent, but they've got some really good athletes coming through down there. And, you know, we were the same up here. You know, the communities of people that we've got from different ethnic backgrounds as well. And, you know, some of those kids get, you know, bigger at different ages, don't they, and progress at different ages. But you can get them all playing the game. And I know people say, yeah, certain areas of football areas, a bit of a football area where I live and that. But, you know, people will be interested if they're playing it in schools and that, and you're giving them the opportunity and you give them something to work towards and something to be part of. Kids love being part of things, don't they, and feeling part of something. So, you know, if you get them on board with Salford, I think it's a great thing. And I'm not being disrespectful to Oldham and Rochdale and Swinton and other teams around us, but we're the Premier team, we're the Super League team, we're at the top of the charts at the moment. So, you know, no disrespect to them. Let's work with them and work with those communities around them, because the amount of people and kids that have come through Oldham, I mean, you know, playing for Great Britain and playing for top sides like Saints and Wigan, there's lots that come from that area and that neck of the woods. So, and Manchester as well. So yeah, we've got to just work with them all and keep doing what we're doing, and I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, final bit of news, Parky. Wild Thing have a sale on, which is great. Obviously, lots of good merchandise to get there.
Yeah, earlier in the season, really, as well. These things usually happen towards the end when they've got stock left or whatever else. But I think they put it up back end of last week. I think it was. It went on, and there's still plenty to get there. I mean, I don't personally buy replica shirts anymore, despite the fact I've got about 700 in the house. But you know, when you look at the original price, I think, but now brilliant, great. They've got loads of stuff there. I've been really impressed with them actually. Wild Thing with what they've done. It's been difficult, obviously, because fans aren't going to ground, so a lot of people won't be buying merchandise as such, because you know they might not feel comfortable wearing it in the pub or wherever they go. Whatever they do, but now we're allowed back in grounds. I think it's great timing. I hope people do have a look and hopefully they can bring out a few more bits for the rest of the year now. And yeah, it's a good thing.
Father's Day's coming up, Paul. It could be an opportunity here.
Yeah, I've already got my dad something. I'm not saying I'm not saying though because he listens to the show, so I'm not telling him. So I'm seeing him on Sunday, so I'm not going to say it's coming to our house for his tea. So I'm going to keep it quiet. But I don't know if my kids have got me anything. They usually do. They usually sort me out with something.
Hope it's from Wild Thing. Now we're on video. It's an opportunity for us to be clothes horse for their gear.
Maybe have you tried a power cut as well? Because you
oddly enough, I was just about to say I'm going to be very unprofessional, but my video's gone dark, so I need to put a light on.
You go and turn the light on, Parker.
So don't miss me too much. I can't. The viewers obviously, they obviously love the dulcet tones. They'd like to see my beautiful face as well. So
this is
fair play.
You're in the dark as well, Robert.
I am. You're right, Paul. You like that the time, the winds of time have come, and the sun has dropped below the clouds. And
right, was that the sunlight that was coming in? Right, I put the little lamp.
Probably a metaphor what's going on now, really. To be fair, but there you go. So yeah, that's all the big news going on, Paul. And now what we're going to do, you're going to read us through the amateur scene and what's going on there.
Drop me in it here now because I normally record this and it takes me
it's
about
going to be good.
So I've got to do this live now.
Live.
You should hear me when I do it at work in my van. I have to do it in about 10 attempts because I'll go all the way through it and I'll miss some out and I'll swear and have to start again. So
no pressure. So
I'm going to try and talk you through the amateur report now, guys. Yeah, so I'll start off this week with the National Conference Leagues as I do every week. It was a bit of a difficult week for our Rochdale and Oldham teams in the Conference Leagues. As you know, the leagues are split into like regions now. With these leagues that's gone this season. It's Crossfields 46, Saddle Rangers 12. Rochdale Mayfield were beaten at home to Oldham St Anne's by 38 points to 30. Waterhead, 22, Clockface minus 30. The fixtures for this week, there's just one involving our local sides, and it's on Saturday the 19th of June, and it's between Pilkington Rex and Rochdale Mayfield. That's this weekend, 2:30 kickoff. So that's the National Conference Leagues rounded up. I'll have to get my glasses on now if it's only small writing this. We're moving on to the youth and junior leagues. In the under-18s Premier Division at the weekend, it was Lee Minor Rangers 24, Waterhead 18. In Division 1 of the under-18s, it was Widnes Moorfield 42, Rochdale Mayfield 20. In the under-16s Division 1, Pilkington Rex 12, Waterhead Warriors 12, and in Division 3 of the under-16, Charlie 8, Langworthy 28, Folly Lane 14, Goulburn Parkside 58. Fixtures for Sunday the 20th of June. It's Lancashire Cup week this week, and the under-18s, we've got Folly Lane against Hindley, Oldham St Anne's against Widnes Moorfield Tigers, Orrell St James play Rochdale Mayfield, Ulverston play Waterhead Warriors. In the North West Youth Cup, under 18s, it's Ashton Bears Gold against Cadishead Rhinos, and Langworthy Reds play Ascombe. Saddleworth Rangers are at home to Blackbrook Royals. In the under 16s Lancashire Cup, Blackbrook Royals play Waterhead Warriors, Salford City Roosters at home to Hindley, and in the North West Youth Cup under 16s, it's Charlie Panthers against West Horton Lions, Goulburn Parkside against Langworthy Reds, Orrell St James Blues against Folly Lane, and Wigan St Cuthberts against Rochdale Mayfield. In the North West Men's League, results from Saturday the 12th of June. Division 1, it was Moorfield Tigers 40, Bury Broncos 20. In Division 2, Cadishead Rhinos 12, Pilkington Rex A 12. Fantastic game there, I believe, ending in a tight draw. Division 3, it was Salford City Roosters 12, Roost Pioneers 14. Salford City Roosters have been on a roll this season, and I think that's their first defeat of the season. We've been waxing lyrical about them every week, but they were beating their 14 points to 12 in that one. In Division 4 of the North West Men's League, Langworthy Reds went down at home to West Bank Bears 48 points to 8. Newton Storm 24, Higginshaw 32. In Division 5, it was Higginshaw A 28, Liverpool St Helens 24. And there was two results in the Division 5 South and East. Burton Wood Chargers 34, Waterhead Warriors A 20. And Runcorn 24, Bolton Mets 22. The fixtures for this weekend, Saturday the 19th of June, Division 1, Bury Broncos at home to Haydock. Latchford Albion play Oldham St Anne's A. Division 2, Thatto Heath Crusaders B are at home to West Horton Lions. Lee Minor Rangers A play Cadishead Rhinos. Pilkington Rex A play Folly Lane. And Division 3, Rochdale Mayfield A are at home to Culture Eagles. Division 4, Higginshaw play Langworthy Reds. And Division 5, North and West Liverpool Lions face Higginshaw A. And finally in Division 5, South and East, Ince Rosebridge A are at home to Bolton Mets. Salford City Roosters A play Runcorn. And Waterhead Warriors A play the Ashton Bears A. And what I've been doing this year, I don't know if you've noticed, but I give the teams in the Championship and League One a bit of a mention now, as well as it being the amateur report. Do it as a roundup of the other leagues as well. So the results from the weekend just gone in the Betfred Championship was Dewsbury 12, Toulouse Olympic 56. Featherstone Rovers beat Bradford Bulls 44 points to 0. Halifax Panthers 30, York City Knights 6, Oldham 28, Sheffield Eagles 32. Swinton Lions were beaten 30 points to 36 at home to Newcastle Thunder. They're still searching for their first win. Whitehaven 20, Batley Bulldogs 24, Widnes 22, London Broncos 24. That cost me a few quid in my bets as well, after I backed Widnes Vikings in that one. And in Division Betfred League 1, Barrow 40, Rochdale Hornets 4. Another defeat for Rochdale Hornets, who were expected to do really well this season, and they're starting to struggle. Barrow looking really strong at the top of League 1. Coventry Bears 12, Workington 30, Keighley Cougars 70, West Wales 12, London Scholars 10, Hunslet 62, and North Wales Crusaders 0, Doncaster 68. The fixtures for this week in the Betfred Championship, all the games are played on Sunday the 20th of June. It's Dewsbury against Featherstone, London Broncos against Whitehaven. That's on the Hour League app. Newcastle Thunder against Oldham. Swinton Lions are at home to Halifax Panthers. And there's two games on the Hour League app at 3 o'clock. Widnes Vikings against Sheffield Eagles and York City Knights against Batley Bulldogs. In the Betfred League 1 on Sunday, Coventry Bears play Keighley Cougars, Hunslet play Doncaster, and Workington play Rochdale. There's a couple of games on Saturday as well, in Betfred League 1. London Scholars against Barrow on the Hour League app at 3:30. And there's a game 3 o'clock, West Wales Raiders against North Wales Crusaders, so Welsh derby. So that is the amateur report for this week. It's very, very difficult doing it live, and next week I think I'll do it as normal again.
Wonderful. Did it in one, Parky. What else can you ask for?
I'm sweating.
Very professional. Very good. That you'll get a job on grandstand if it's still going or something like that.
Yeah.
Reading scores out on the video printer.
James
think-
Alexander Gordon reading the score.
Yeah.
You'd be all right at that. Some interesting scores against Featherstone. You know,
Certainly.
obviously we've got connections there at the moment with Lussick being there on loan. I don't know if he played this weekend, but that's some result. Putting 44 on Bradford or wherever it was, absolutely thumping. Magnificent. And as for Swinton, I don't know where they go now. You know, getting beat at home to Newcastle it's a bit of a low, isn't it? I don't know. They had a bit of an emergency at the ground as well, didn't they? One of their sort of patrons, if you like, had a bit of an incident and was rushed to hospital. So you know, we just wish everyone at the Swinton club all the best with that.
Yeah,
hope he's fine.
I think with the now we're doing it on video, Paul, and the way you had to position yourself then to read your amateur report, you know what that wall's missing behind your picture.
Right, okay. I'll get
sure
there next week.
Yeah.
I've got a few canvases actually. I've got a load of Salford gear in the garage, so what I'll do is I'll deck it out on my couch next week.
Yes.
Boy. I'll get some stuff ready. I've had a long
Just-
day. I didn't get home till late today, so next week. You're
When
on.
you were leaning over, then I thought the picture need to put a picture there. Well, I thought I'd just tell you, just in case
I've
you know
only just moved
you
in.
thought about it.
Gives a chance.
Yeah.
It's time for the Devil of the Details Big Match Review.
What's the big game against Huddersfield on Friday, Paul?
Yeah. I'm excited. I like going there. Huddersfield's a good trip, and we've not lost there since 2013. Believe it or not, we've got a good record there. So records are there to be broken, aren't they? But no, I enjoy it. I've always enjoyed going there. You know, even for like the 90s and the early 2000s, and that's always a good trip. Used to go on the train and things like that. But no, I'm excited. Should be a good game, and obviously the Watson and Luke Yates sort of scenario as well is going to add a bit of spice to it. And yeah, I just hope the supporters behave themselves. Because we've had a few incidents there over the years, but no, excited for it. I like going there and just want to see us put a bit of a performance in, I think.
Forward to the game against Huddersfield. Obviously, opportunity to right a few wrongs.
Looking forward to it might be a stretch. Just let you know, I've hired a new lighting person, so we've got light tonight. Yeah, look, I don't know if looking forward to it's the right phrase. It could go one way or the other. We could be a massive surprise, or it could go the way the last 2 weeks. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting. Let's just put it that way.
Let there be light, and like Kane, Parker, and the wife had to pedal a bit faster. But that's all that matters. Back in there, we've got the lights going now, which is great. I spoke to Richard Marshall in the pre-match press conference before, and this is what I had to say.
Right, Ricky, it's Rob.
Hi, Rob.
You said things need to change and fast on Friday night. What have you changed this week in the build-up to the game?
Yeah, there's a couple of changes within the squad. There'll be a couple of changes within that squad. In terms of the game plan, what we'll do is we'll keep what we tried to do in that first 20 minutes, and we'll build off the back of that. And we'll also work on our attacking structure. I think our attacking structure needs to change. I think we need to be nailing our plays, making sure we're running the correct lines. We've done quite a lot on it as well, but at the same time, it's under pressure. When the chips are down, we need to nail them plays. So that's hopefully will be the change this week.
Yeah, it's always a tough place to be towards the bottom of the league. You said you've had Sean Wayne in this week. What did you learn from that? And did he speak to your players as well?
It just gives a fair assessment of one of our training sessions, which was good, which wasn't too far off exactly how I would have pitched it. He spoke with us as coaches, myself and Danny. I'm not afraid to go and ask for help if we need it, and I thought it was a good move for the club to get the current England coach in. He can have a look at our players, and for me as head coach as well, just bounce some ideas around there. So yeah, I thought that was a really good session, and I'll keep in touch with him throughout the next couple of weeks as well. He's keen to come in again and do a little bit more with us, so that's fantastic. Yeah.
Obviously, over the last couple of weeks, we've not sort of played well. Do you feel like you've been let down by your players, or do you just take that responsibility as head coach?
That's my responsibility. The players, we come up with the plans. I am very inclusive coach. I do let the players have a bit of a say in what we're doing, but at the same time, I pick the team and I put the best team out there at the weekend, and they deliver the plan. We've done it for incremental parts in games, but not on the whole, for not long enough periods. Our possession stats are quite low, and we make a few errors. We've got to get more confidence in our D, but that's on me. That's not on the players. I don't feel let down by the players, not at all.
Yeah, your team's in a rut at the moment, but the quality is there. We can see that. How would you shock them out of the negative spiral that they might be in?
Reward the positive behaviours, reward the stuff that we do really well, and enjoy what we're doing. I think, when you come to work, listen, we did all the stats and the reviews and that, and you get up on a Monday morning and you're ready to go. I'm ready to go again. That's just what you do. You just get up and you keep going. But also enjoying what we do, enjoying being around the place. As I've said many times, it's a privileged environment we are at Salford. It's a great city. It's a great place to play rugby. There's some wins in there. Really happy with someone like Elijah Taylor coming from the other side of the world and having a real big impact on this team. Working with the juniors, you've got to get the small wins as a coach and as players, and hopefully that we can feed off of that in games.
Yeah, obviously discipline has been an issue with players being sin-binned and sent off and banned. As a coach, is it kind of your philosophy to be as aggressive as you can and sort of run the line between sort of legal and illegal, or is it just sort of players sort of going over the top in certain situations?
I think there's every incident is different, but I think with us, certain players get frustrated within the game and then take their frustrations out on the opposition, probably the wrong way. I didn't think the Paulie was a send off at the weekend. I just didn't. I thought I didn't think it was a send off at all. It was slightly late. It was a penalty, but it wasn't a sin bin or a send off. The Chris Atkin one is debatable. I'm not quite sure really. We've had a couple of them where they've been play on this year, then one on ball, but I'm so glad that rule's going next year. I just think it confuses the whole. I just think it's not a great spectacle, a great look. Even OKR, we previewed OKR, and Matt Parcells is a fantastic player, and he gets a few of them. It's obviously in his dynamics to get them. I think Takarangi got one as well, so I'm glad that's going. But we'll look after ourselves on that.
Yeah, there's a few players linked to Huddersfield for next season. Is the big test this weekend sort of keeping the players focused on the challenge on Friday?
Yeah, we're forgetting it's not about the opposition, it's about what we do this week. It's about turning up with a real good mindset, a real good attitude now, and having a dig. Listen, if we walk off the field and we give every inch for 80 minutes and we've still not won, I'll be happy. Listen, if we do that, give every inch, we've got more chance of winning if we build off the stuff that we've been doing. I think that's it. And when you're a fan and you pay money, that's all you can ask for. We've had that in bucket loads. 3 weeks ago, we went toe-to-toe against Wigan, one of the best teams in the comp, and just fell short. But so we can do it, and I hope this Friday we do it.
Yeah, Salford fans will be in attendance on Friday. How important is it that they stay behind you and not get distracted by our ex-coach being sat in the other dugout?
Yeah, I mean that they I don't know. I can only speak for myself and my team. I'm not quite sure. I think it's great that our supporters will be there, 100% behind us. I know it's been a tough period for the club, but we'll come through. We'll come through this period. Hopefully, Friday is the evening to do that, and our supporters will be singing that song, and hopefully, we're singing the winning song at the end.
Cheers, Rick. Good luck.
So that was Richard Marshall talking to myself ahead of the game against Huddersfield, Paul, and he mentioned obviously there will be changes, going forward, and it's going to be interesting to see what he does. Obviously, we haven't got the biggest squad in the world, and he kind of needs to nurture his players to play a bit better.
Well, yeah, I think one plus this week should be that Dan Sargent comes back after his suspension. So I would have thought Dan. Yeah, well, I wouldn't have thought if we were playing well, he'd have walked back straight into the side. You've got to work your way back in, but the way we've been playing, you probably will walk straight back into the team. But it'll be interesting to see the 21-man squad when it is announced. When people are listening to this, it's probably already been announced, hasn't it? But no, it's going to be interesting because there's been sort of 4 to 5, 6 changes every week, hasn't there? You know, I sort of keep my team sheets and I sort of compare them every week and just see who's been changed around. There has been at least 5 or 6 changes every week, and you know, this week's going to be a tough one. I think Sargent coming back's a good one. He's one of them though, Sargent, and he needs to keep his head. We don't want him to come back in this game. There's going to be a bit of passion in this game, and it'd be like him to just go in there. He's full-blooded, and we don't want him to go in there and do something over the top and get himself sent off. So if you're listening, Dan, just careful, because I love him to bits. He's a real all-hearted player, but I've said it before. He's like the kid that was climbing trees, always falling over and cutting himself and things like that. So he needs to be careful. But I think he's a big boost for the side. I think he's a leader on the pitch as well and a whole-hearted player. So I think he'll be a good positive boost for us. And obviously we've got a new signing as well, but I don't think he's going to feature this week, so that's something on the back burner. But that signing of this halfback that's coming over, I can't remember his name, apologies. That should put a bit of pressure on the guys that are there. You know, you've got Tuilala here, there, Deck Patton's there, Chris Atkin. You've got a new guy coming in now. Those guys have got to play well now or could lose the place. So yeah, this week's going to be interesting to see what Richard comes up with.
Yeah, the new signing is called Atahing Anu Park. It's probably not pronounced like that, but you know what I'm like with names and Welleraki and Lusick and Lusick, and you know I just make them up as I go along. Really.
Yeah. There's nothing to add there.
Yeah, he did talk about attacking structures, and he's looking at sort of changing it for Huddersfield. What do you think he means by that? Do you think he means sort of changes in position or players maybe coming in?
I don't know. And see, the strange thing is, if they're working on things, why have they not done that previously, knowing how bad we've been in attack? I think Paul mentioned on the podcast earlier this week that we'd scored something like 106 points or something in 9 games. We should have been working on that way before. So I'm not sure what he means. There must be something in the structure of the way they're playing, or whether the ball's going through somebody's hands and he wants to swap it and make that a different player play that role. Not sure where he's going with that. And again, it depends on who's available. You know, you can only play a certain way when you've got certain players. And Paul's mentioned obviously Sarge coming back. I could see him playing fullback again, because I don't think Morgan Escaré has had the greatest couple of weeks, to say the least. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But for me, Sarge, he's a centre, and he's an international centre, and he should play in the centre this week. And that gives you a different option again, going, you know, in that position out wide. And he knows that I put a winger in. We've not done that for weeks, really. Played to a winger. And that's another side of the attacking game, that our wingers do not see the ball enough. And maybe that's another thing he's looked at. And one of the big criticisms has been, and certainly on social media, is we've been doing this 5 drives and a kick. You know, and it's generally a bit of an aimless kick as well, because we haven't made enough meters, because we've done too much defending. But maybe, you know, that's another side of it. So I don't know. Richard and Danny Orr, who's there, will have their own ideas, and maybe they're just going to switch things up a bit and try a new style. I don't know. They've not had long to work on it. So yeah, interesting statement. But again, like I say, it depends who's available. You know, how far other players are, I don't know. Like Paul said, we've not seen the squad yet for this week. But if you can get a few more bodies back, then you can play a different way. And you know, you play to your strengths, and your strengths to me are playing players in the right position. So, but we'll wait and see. But yeah, you know, he's obviously spotted that this needs to change.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, like you said, with Dan Sarge coming back, Morgan Escalay at fullback, possibly. I think you've got to play your strongest side, and Morgan Escalay as an actual fullback at fullback. Dan Sargent as an international centre in the centre only strengthens our attacking prowess, Paul. We'll have to wait and see what Richard Marshall means about that. Obviously, with the new signing coming in, halfbacks now have competition, even though they had competition before. They've got even more now, so they'll have to start doing something. Richard Marshall talked about Sean Wayne coming down to the club this week and sort of talking to him and his coaches and the players and geeing them up and finding out, you know, and him sort of studying what Marshall was doing, what he was doing right and wrong. And I suppose it kind of gives, and he fed back to Marshall by the sound of it. So it kind of gives Marshall confidence that, you know, what he's doing is right. He probably just needed a bit of reassurance from somebody like the England coach.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Just going back to what you were saying there before about Dan Sargent, I think he'd be a big lift to the side, and I know where I'd be playing him. I'd be playing him in that centre there, maybe with Joe Burgess. You know, they played together at Wigan, didn't they? So that could be a real fruitful partnership, that down the wing. Full back, I don't know whether I'd play Kenzie or full back, to be honest with you. I'm not too sure. He's played there before. He's a steady Eddie. I've not got nothing against Morgan Escudé. I'm not like a Morgan Escudé sort of. I don't like him. I think he's a decent player, but I just don't think he's been on form at the moment. His defence has looked a bit iffy, and that's where something we need to tighten up. If he's played well in training this week and Marshall goes with him, well, I'll get behind that. But I don't want Sargent to go there. I want Sargent in the centre. Sargent is a centre. He's an out-and-out centre. It's like when we had Chris Wellham. He's a centre. That's where he should play. That's where he plays best for me. I think he might disagree with you, Dan Sargent. Sometimes I think he likes playing at full-back, doesn't he? But no, that's where I'd have him this week, and I think we'll be more dangerous with him on the edges anyway. So you know, when we look at that, when you look at that Reece Williams and Burgess and CEO and Sargent, that's a good 3/4 line there. They're good players, they're good quality players, and we should be scoring more points than 106 in 9 games. Not good enough. So I think that's something we need to be looking at this week. I don't think Huddersfield's defence is tremendous. I think we can score points against them, definitely. So it will be interesting to see what Richard decides and what he comes up with. I think it's every week now. I say every week, I'm reading the team news out. There's been changes, and people's eyes are always on that squad, aren't they now? And when the club put the squad out, you'll get people commenting, saying, "Oh, what's this? Why has he picked him? And why has he picked that?" And it gets people talking. So it's been a bit of a contentious thing when we see the squad go out.
Yeah, I asked him whether he felt like he'd been let down by his players parking. He didn't. He defended his players. He took full responsibility on what's happened, and you're just hoping the players kind of repay him for that faith.
Yeah, very much so, and repay the fans for you know, poor performances all round. Like we said on the podcast the other day, you know, these lads have got to take responsibility. It's not all on the coach. You know, no. He picks the team. If he picks the wrong team, you know, he's got to hold his hands up, and that's what he's done this week. You know, he's come out and he said, you know, I take responsibility for the team. But those players have got to step up, and this is the key game in many ways to do that. You know, a lot of them will have personal relationships with Ian Watson in whatever manner they had them. You know, whether it was good or bad. But you've all got a point to prove, but not just for this game. To yourselves and to the club and to Richard Marshall. So, like Paul said, if you can't get up for this, you know, but what's the point? So yeah, again, it depends who's available, but I think they'll be fired up. Hopefully, not overly fired up. That's the other side of it. Discipline's got to be the key. But yeah, it'd be good. I think, you know, travelling sort of support going over as well to give us a bit of a G up in many ways, but whether that makes a difference or not, I don't know. But he's just got to pick. For me, if he picks the right players in the right positions, like Paul said, I've nothing against Morgan Escudé. I think as an attacking weapon, he could be very, very dangerous. He looks a bit shot at the moment, and the one thing you don't want to do, keep throwing somebody. He's not going to do him any favours. Maybe just give him a week out or whatever it is. I'd happily see Kenny CEO at fullback. He's played fullback in the NRL, I think. You know, so he's not a dummy there. You could have your Williams and Burgess on each wing. You've got Sargent. You could play Davis again because I thought he did okay. But Levette could easily slot back in the centres. I don't know where Matty Costello's at the moment. I don't know if he'll be back at any time soon. But we've still got real quality in there, and that back line looks more secure to me. Like that, so I think that'd be the change and make at the back. Half backs is a big issue at the moment. It's not working, no matter who's playing there. I like Chris Atkin a lot. I really do. But possibly as the backup hooker, I think that might be his role. He is a good player though, and I don't. He's one of them that I don't want to knock too much because he's never really let us down in any way. But we have got Dick Patton there. Who, we said it a few weeks ago. If he is going to be playing, he needs to play scrum half. He's not. I'm not going to say he's not good anywhere else, but he's not as good anywhere else. And I personally, and this might be controversial, I don't know. If we've got the bodies available, I'd probably leave out Tue. I think he's been, not productive enough for my liking. He's taking too many silly options at times, and some of his kicking as well. That's what he's famed for. He has got a great kicking game, but some of it has been straight to fullbacks or just up in the air and nowhere. And I think last week he looked a little disinterested or low on confidence, whatever it is. But that's my personal opinion. Whether we've got the bodies to cover that, I don't know. But there'd be a couple of changes, little tweaks that I'd possibly make.
It's a big call, Paul, dropping Tuilola here.
Why? He's a player.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because he's our international halfback. He's probably seen as one of our most attacking threat. He can be a bit of a loose cannon, but he did make the try for NCO against OKR. So
no player's bigger than the squad, though, Rob. If you're not playing well, you don't play. I don't buy that. Whether he plays for Tonga or what, to me, I've got nothing against him. I think he's a good player, but drifting in and out of games, you can't play 10-minute cameo roles here and there. You've got to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. If you're going to win matches, you need somebody on there who's going to grab the game, lead the team around the pitch, and he's not doing that. So you've got to make a change. You keep doing the same thing every week, you're going to get the same result. I don't know who was the American president who said that one, so I'm not going to claim that one, but it's a saying, isn't it? So you've got to do something different. If we do the same thing we did against OKR, we're going to get the same result as we got against OKR. We've got to do something different. Tuilola is a really talented player. We've seen what he did in the World Cup for Tonga a couple of years ago, I know, but he's done some great stuff for us. I mean, that try he scored in the grand final that got disallowed, it was a great try. Yeah, we know what he can do, but at the moment he's not doing it. He's low on confidence for whatever reason. There's all sorts of rumours flying about that he's going to sign for Huddersfield, this, that and the other. He's had his head turned. I don't know what's true, and perhaps this week would be a time to just give the guy a rest, like Parky said about Escudé. Sometimes players just need that week out, get their head back together, get their head down in training, they kick up the backside that they need. Perhaps Tuilola here thinks, I can't get dropped. I'm too good. I can just, do what I want. Perhaps that shock to the system sometimes is what you need. So I don't know. And we say if he doesn't play, who do we play there? And that's another difficult one. Is it Atkin and Patton? So I suppose it'd have to be, really, wouldn't it? So I'm in the same boat as Parkin regarding, as Paul Parkin, as Parky, I'm getting mixed up here.
Sunday name.
It's got that many names. No, I'm in the same boat as Parky regarding Chris Atkin. I think we was talking before about the OKR game. Chris Atkin, for me, was one of the players that came out of that game, and I felt sorry for him because you could see when he got sin-binned, he walked off just in front of where I was, and he was fuming, and it seemed like it meant something to him, the game. He was upset, and, no disrespect to Chris Atkin, I don't think he's the greatest halfback in the league. I don't think he's the greatest player in the league, but I think one thing you get from him is 100% commitment every week. He tries his heart out, he really does. So I'd have Chris in the team. I'd have him in the team every week because I like him. I think he's a clever player. Dick Patton, I agree with Parky about that. I don't think he's a hooker. I don't think he's a hooker at all. I think he's better at 7. So does he start at 7? It's a difficult one. It's a dead difficult situation, this for Richard Marshall. Could this be the game where Tuilola goes out and plays really well? Don't know. I hope so.
I suppose the fact that Patton and Atkin are both sort of scrum halves, would that affect the shape of the side? Parky, I don't claim to be a rugby league coach at all, but I think is there 2 ways you can split the field and have sort of 2 halves sort of playing?
If they've worked it, if they've trained together, if both know who's doing what, I suppose it's not ideal. Of course it's not, but they're both halfback. But it's very similar these days. I tend to find there used to be a massive difference between your standoff and your scrum half. I'm not sure it's quite as the gulf's quite there now. I mean, going back to Tui last week, he was the senior partner in that. He is the international player. He's the one that takes control of the game for me and isn't doing. And it was kind of telling that Richard Marshall took him off. How many times in a game does a stand-off ever get subbed? It doesn't happen, does it? So there was definitely something lacking there last week. Whether that's the kick up the backside he needed, whether he's gone into Richard Marshall this week, knocked on his door and said, listen, I'm sorry, boss, I wasn't good enough. I've got me, there's things going on, possibly behind the scenes, but I'll guarantee you, I will give you 100%, while I'm at this club and, working underneath you. And he'll be back in this week and may, like Paul said, may have an absolute world-beating game. You just don't know. But, like Paul said, you don't keep making the same mistakes. Something's got to change. Somebody needs a jolt in that team. And maybe something like that, might be quite seismic, I suppose, but take him out of the team and show every player that, you don't just get a shirt at this club. You've got to work for it. And if your heart's not in it and your commitment's not there, sorry, you're not playing. So a lot of decisions for Richard Marshall to make this week. And again, I'll go back and say, has he got the players? Who's fit, who's not fit? We don't know. But I think we do need a change somewhere. Wherever the problem is, I'm not sure. But going back to the half-back situation, can them two players, Patton and Atkin, do any worse than we have been doing? That's the other side of it. We're not winning games and we're getting thumped. If we don't win this week and we get thumped, it's the same outcome. If we get a bit closer and these two lads, the thing is for me, and like Paul's more or less alluded to there about Atkin playing with heart, that's all I want. Bit of commitment, bit of pride in you and your shirt and your teammates around you. A lot of players last week didn't show that. And I think they're the ones that get the shirt for me. Not on ability, on heart. They're obviously decent players, they're Super League players. This is as good as it gets in this country. Just show me a bit of passion, a bit of commitment. And if you go down fighting. We haven't done that for a couple of weeks. But, Richard's got a lot on his plate for this week. Like you say, I'm not Wayne Bennett. I don't know. But, it's on his shoulders now to make a change.
Discipline's going to be key as well. Paul, in discipline, talked about that. Said that obviously players are just kind of making rash decisions in games. Like we talked about in the previous podcast, it's more of a mental thing for me. We're just hoping the players are in a good frame of mind when we're talking about changes.
I think a lot of it's frustration, Rob. When things aren't going right, it's frustration. Like the Paulie one against OKR. I didn't think it was a red card, really. I thought, maybe a sin binning, but why did he do that? It's the last minute of the game. The game's gone. Why would you go and do that? I think sometimes we've got too many players in that team that are a liability and they do stupid things like that, and it just needs taking out of the game. You need to use your brain. If I was Richard Marshall saying to Paulie, look, don't go doing something daft like that. The game's gone. Just use your brain a bit more because we've already got enough suspensions. He could have got suspended for that. And I know he didn't. He probably got sending off sufficient or whatever, but he could have done. And it's just a silly thing to do. The penalty count again last week was 10-5. Okay. God knows how many of them 6-to-go things were because that Uta was right near where I was sat and it was going off all the time. So we give plenty of them away as well. So 10-5 is a lot of penalties to give away. And a lot of them are silly ones as well. Silly ones at the play the ball and things like that. So, we need to stamp that. We've said that all season. I mean, I can remember seasons where you'd go through a season, you wouldn't have a player red carded. I think this season we've had 2 already, if I'm right, Ryan Lannon and Paulie. We've quite a lot of sin binnings as well, haven't we? So we've gone from being the most unpenalised team a couple of years ago to like the most penalised team, haven't you? You think that 2019 season we was the cleanest team in the league. We weren't giving any penalties away, and that can have a big bearing. The more penalties you're giving away, the more possession you're giving to your opposition, the more pressure you're putting on yourselves, the more repeat sets you're giving away and things like that. So discipline's a big thing. But like I said, I think a lot of it's down to frustration and when you're desperate to get a result.
Yeah, we talked about Huddersfield and obviously it's all about our performance, not sort of catering for them, Parker.
Yeah, you've got to concentrate on your own game. Before the game, whatever the players think, that's got to go out. Got to go out of the mind. They've just got to concentrate on doing their job. Like I say, the other things are distractions, aren't they? Watson, Yates, things like that. They're all just. It's more for the fans, I think, that kind of thing. I don't think professional players would. They may have a point to prove about trying to get one over him or something like that, but I don't think it counts. And at the moment, I'd rather them just concentrate on doing what they need to do. The discipline thing is key. We can't keep giving teams the ball. We just cannot do it, and we can't be at 12 men for any period of a game. I was slightly disappointed with what Marshall said about the Chris Atkin one. He seemed to be sitting on the fence a little bit, and I think 99% of all rugby league fans know that it wasn't even a penalty. Never mind a stim minute. But Richard sort of said, "Oh," and even after the game, the interview there, he seemed to blame Chris Atkin for it, which I didn't quite get. He didn't sort of come out and say that's a ridiculous decision. The referee's got that blatantly wrong, which he did. I know he defended Paulie in the interview you've got. And for me, that was another one that I think realistically, Paulie was the one that should have got a bit of an earful. Like Paul said, it's the last minute of the game. If he doesn't come shooting out the line and commit to that tackle, he can still be in that defensive line. He's put pressure on the player, but he's still in the line. All that did was left a massive gap for their man to run through. But another player had to pull across because he's pulled out, and through he went and scored, and Morgan Escare went running off the opposite way, I think. But anyway, but things like that, you've got to think. You've just got to, control yourself. I mean, we saw Moose do it against Cass. A man of his experience and a leader, a player that I've got nothing but respect for. But he got frustrated, and I think it was Danny Richardson late and got Simbin. Can't do that. Cost you games. So we just got to sort that discipline out. Put the Watson thing out of mind. If the lads decide to put a big hit on Yates, fine by me. Absolutely. In fact, no, please do it. But, keep it clean. Make sure it is legal. Keep everybody on the pitch. And just get on with your job.
Because that's what it's all about, I suppose. It's all about being ready for the big game. Paul, he talked about, obviously, the opposition and how we're going to have to be 100% sort of ready. And I think it's also important as well, Paul, that us fans are 100% behind the team, because obviously with all the Ian Watson thing, swirling in the background, the last thing we need, or the players need, is us fans having a go at Ian Watson. The players need our support right now to get behind him and lift him to that next level. I know there won't be thousands of us there. There'll be probably a few hundred or whatever. It's so important that we get behind him in such a crucial game.
Yeah, I can't understand anybody having a go at Ian Watson, really. He's gone. With the greatest respect to Ian, he's yesterday's man now as far as Salford are concerned. He's gone. He's not part of the club anymore. He's nothing to do with us. So you've got to let that go. We can be disappointed about the way he left and the things he said. We don't know what's gone on. We don't know everything that went on behind the scenes. So you're just guessing sometimes and plucking things out of the air and having a go at people for something. So, yeah, I'm not bothered anymore. That's gone. Richard Marshall's Salford's coach now. And as far as I'm concerned, I'll be going to the game on Friday and I'll be 100% behind Richard Marshall. I'm not going to mention Ian Watson. We should be getting behind Marshall. We should be giving it the crowd who go should be cheering that Salford side on, because it's all right cheering them on when you get the grand finals and cup finals, but for me, this is when the players and the club need you the most as a supporter. There's not going to be loads of us, but they need us there now, getting behind them. It's all right going to Old Trafford and cheering them on them, but this is bread and butter now. This is when Salford need us, so we need to be there and make ourselves heard on Friday night. And yeah, it's going to be a tough game. Huddersfield are a decent side. They've started to come into their own a bit now. I think they had a bit of a rocky start. They lose the first 4 or 5 games, but Ian Watson has got them playing well. Now he's got a settled pair of half-backs. He's got quite a settled team from what I've seen, and they seem pretty useful. So it's going to be a test. If I had to decide between Ulster and Huddersfield who was a better side, they're probably quite two similar teams, to be honest with you. I was just thinking before, and on Friday night when I was driving home, what's the difference between OKR side and our side? And I thought, on paper, our players are just as good as OKR's, if not better. And yet they've won 5 matches and have got 10 points. So is that not a belief thing? sometimes. So we need to get that belief back and get that confidence back, I think. And if, dare I say it, we could get a result against Huddersfield or even a performance, it might just give you that bit of confidence to start building. We need a building block now. We need something to build from, because for me at the moment we're at rock bottom or not far off, and we need to start looking up and shouting to the top, as the Style Council used to say.
Score prediction, Parky, and a song title might give you extra points.
What's that? Sorry.
You give me a song title in your prediction, and I'll give you extra points for it.
Okay, I'll think about it. One thing before we do is, I was going to say about our record there, as Paul has previously mentioned, is tremendous. It seems to be a decent ground for us, and I'm just hoping that luck can continue. We've won a lot of games there. Going back to, I think, the first time I went, about 95, 96, something like that. We had, so we've had a good run there. So fingers crossed. And the other thing is that Huddersfield has just had a week off through COVID. Apparently, I don't know the ins and outs, but so will they be fresher, or will it affect them in a different way that they've had that week off? You just don't know. Going into predictions, well, I haven't thought about this, I should have had enough time.
Yeah.
Now, I'm really struggling here. I'm really struggling. I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to think of something that's,
Come on, Parker.
I've
got my pad ready.
You've not done your prediction league one yet?
No, not yet, mate. No, it's I've slipped and I've left it too late. I'll say Salford win by 22-18. And it's Harvey Levette winner. Scooting over out wide.
We'll take that, won't we, Paul? What's your prediction?
Yeah, I bet he didn't say that in his prediction league one. A little fibber. No, he just got me thinking back there when he said about the first time he'd go to Huddersfield 96. There was that Mark Lee kicking for Nathan McAvoy at the end. We got out of jail, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Remember that game. I've wrote mine down here. 1918 to Salford, I'm going.
1918. Is there a story behind that? What's the weather going to be like?
I've got a confession to make as well, actually.
All right, one of them, is it?
I put 20 quid on OKR last week. Yeah, I did.
Reaction.
Wise man.
Wise man.
We had an 8-point start on the Cooper. And I thought, I can't see us winning by 8. I can't see us getting a result.
Even a camera couldn't believe it.
No, so yeah, I backed OKR to win by 9 or more. So it didn't. I tell you what, though, it didn't cheer me up. I was still in a real mood on the way home. I didn't remember till I got home. So no. But yeah, I'm sorry about that. But it'll be interesting to see what sort of start we get this week, actually, with the bookies, with the Huddersfield game. But no, I'm sticking with my 1918. I might put some money on us this week because I just fancy a result. I just fancy us to play well. I don't buy all the Watson thing and all that Luke Yates thing. I think we can play well. We've got it in us. We showed against the Wigan game. I know I always say this thing that my dad always says about you're only as good as your last game and all that. We proved against Wigan we can play well. We played well in that game, and we was lucky not to win the game. And then since then, we've just gone down the tube, haven't we, in our last 2 games? So if we can sort of get that form back from that game, I mean, look at the Cass game in the Cup. Played really well that day. Put a really good performance in and was unlucky. So if we can get that sort of commitment back and that effort back, that'll take you a long way. And I don't think Huddersfield are blooming Penrith Panthers. They're not that good. They've been had some in and out results themselves this season. They got beat at Hull. I know it was a bit closer than we was, but they've had some poor defeats, haven't they? So they've not been like hitting the straps throughout the season. I think they've got better last few weeks, but I think they're still a bit of a work in progress, aren't they? So yeah, why not go and win there? So yeah, I'm going to stick with me 1918. There's not a story behind it. I'll go. Who can drop a goal for us? Shall I say Tuilagi after we've been slagging him off? I'll say Tuilagi will drop the winning goal.
Yeah. Continuing our songed theme predictions, I think so. Obviously, being a Queen fan, like a good Queen song, I think, because we're under pressure. And obviously, there's a crazy little thing called love. That's why we follow Salford. And who wants to live forever? That's the thing. So let's just go for a big win. I'm going for Huddersfield 14, Salford 38.
Woof.
38-14. And I'm gonna go deck pattern twice.
When he was going about Queen, then I thought he was going to say another one bites the dust.
Hopefully not.
No. I don't know.
So that's the end of this pop-up podcast. Nice way to end it, really, after the obviously defeat against OKR. Chuckling away to ourselves, Parker.
Yeah, we needed cheering up, didn't we? Let's be honest. It's been a tough couple of weeks for us, and let's just hope that the boys can just put up performances for us this week. It doesn't the result. Of course, we want to win, get some out of it, but it's a performance I'm looking for more than anything else, and a bit of heart, bit of a commitment, and then we can move on from there. We've got a home game the week after, our own fans behind us, and we can hopefully move on from there.
Yeah, doing this podcast, Paul, it's a kind of magic that we love to do.
Yeah, it cheers you up, doesn't it? You spend like a couple of days thinking about it, but no, you get it off your chest, don't you? You really do. I do anyway. I love getting it off my chest and having a moan. Not so much a moan, but just just putting the world to rights. I think we have done over the course of this week, haven't we? But it's going to be a tough podcast next week if Huddersfield get 50 points in it. It's going to be hard to do. Yeah. But let's hope, fingers crossed, we can. It doesn't come to that, and we get a nice performance. Not necessarily a victory, but just like we've all been saying, let's just compete and see what happens.
Yeah, big thanks for tuning in to this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson. You can find us on Facebook, Devil in the Detail SRD. You can find us on Twitter at DITDSRD, and you find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Radio Contact, Spotify, and now YouTube. Good luck, Salford, and we'll see you next week.